Hello, my name's Chad Zechiel. I have a company called Sage Consulting Ventures where we help small businesses grow and exit their business. And today I'm having a conversation with Keith Hessel. He's an expert in Net Promoter Score and business customer satisfaction. So please enjoy. And again, this is really just for the sake of small business owners to improve their business and help their customers. Thank you. Goal is to highlight small business owners and their genius and also share ideas between each other for the good of growth and of Colorado businesses. And today I saw within the group Keith Hessel. He was sharing some really interesting information within the group, and I asked him to share his genius and the things that he works on. Uh, so that's where we are today. So Keith, could you introduce yourself and tell us what you do? And I think you have a few things to share with us. Is that accurate?
Absolutely. Yeah. Thanks so much, Chad. My name's Keith Hessel, and I am the founder of Serve Business Consulting. And basically, we are here to help elevate the bar of customer service across the Front Range. There's a lot of different ways that we do that. Generally, a lot of times we will start out by helping small businesses use large business tools, namely Net Promoter Score. That's probably one of the most common questions that you see when you get onto one of the customer satisfaction surveys. How likely are you to recommend us to friends and family? And most people, they'll usually put some kind of number in there, but that number is one of the most important pieces of feedback that you can get from a customer. Um, so after talking with Chad a little bit and getting to know him, what I'd like to present today is just some of the basics of the Net Promoter Score and what you can do to start raising that. Because there's two Net Promoter Scores to actually worry about. There's the one with your customers, of course. You always want to know what people are thinking about you, how referable your business is. And there's also a Net Promoter Score for employees. And that is just how likely are people to encourage others to work for you. So how referable are you on the outside and on the inside, which especially in this, great resignation age, that is probably one of the most important things that you can always bear in mind as a business owner.
Yeah, two great points on promoter score, Keith. So I can't wait to get into it. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So real quick here, I'm going to start sharing some of my screen. Um, and if this will actually cooperate. There we go. Um, All right. So the first thing to bear in mind as far as Net Promoter Score goes is always what the heck is it? Um, and Net Promoter Score is essentially made up of two parts. It is a measure of satisfaction. So, how likely are people to recommend you? That comes directly from their interaction with you. Um, and of course, net promoters are always the ones that will be the folks who are raving about your business. These are the ones that, they came in, they had an awesome experience, and they very much want to let their friends and family know about it. And then on the other side, you have the net detractors. And these are the folks that something happened. Either they didn't feel that their needs were met, or they felt that they weren't treated properly. On the rare occasion, you have the folks who came into your business thinking that you did something totally different than you actually do, and they hold that against you. Um, and we've all had those customers. Those are the Karens of the world, if you will. Um, but from those two, there is a very, very simple to read scale. And Net Promoter will always go from 0 to 10. And the only scores that really make any difference are the ones in green and the ones in red. And green scores, of course, those are your promoters. Those are the ones who are going out, letting everybody know what they thought of your product, of your service, whatever the case may be. And then the red, of course, are the ones that either just weren't impressed or are actively telling people to not use your business. Certainly, we'll hope we never have to deal with any of those, but again, they come up, especially nowadays in this post-COVID world. So the way that you calculate it is very, very straightforward. You ask the question, first and foremost, and you're always going to want to phrase this question for what your business does. There's no generic net promoter score question. It's always going to be tailored specifically to what you do, to
Hmm.
what you offer, and to what people are actually coming to you for. And then to calculate the score, there's a couple ways you can do that. If you're really good with Excel, it's not a difficult formula to set up. But if you're like most business owners that I know, you don't have time to do that. So that is where you would want to have someone come in, whether you want to pay through the nose for an extra service like Google Analytics or stuff like that, or you can bring somebody like me in and we take care of that for you on the back end and then just give it to you a nice little easy to read report. Um, and then once you do get to that point, there's a couple things to bear in mind as far as that net promoter score. It's not the be all end all. It's the starting point for your business
Hmm.
to actually start growing. It's a predictor. How do you actually monitor your customers? Where are your customers coming from? Um, and then where do you go from here? It's a tool to improve the customer and employee experience. If you're getting a lot of consistent net detractors from one specific area, one specific product, that's where you need to focus. And then it's also used to monitor your customer and employee satisfaction. It can be a running tally, a live view, a live snapshot of what your business is actually doing. And then there's a range for the net promoter score. 1 to 100 is generally pretty good. That means that people are at least happy with your product. They might not necessarily be raving, but they're not trying to steer people away. You can get a score of 0. It's very, very rare, but it's possible.
Yeah.
Um, and then anything below 0, uh, contact somebody right
Yeah,
away
get help.
because you need to find out what's going on with that one post haste. Couple
Yeah. So
examples
okay, perfect. That's exactly what I was going to ask. Great slide. I was going to see what examples were and what your view on scores were. So perfect.
absolutely. So probably one of the best examples of customer service about out there is Tesla. Out of everybody, they have a score of 97 out of 100. That is beyond world class customer service. But in their case, it's because out of their quarter million-ish employees, almost 5% of their employee base is dedicated to customer experience. So they can afford to do that. Now, if you're a business owner who can devote 5% of your brain space to customer experience, hey, you're doing really well. I don't know many who can do that. So getting a score of 97, if you can achieve that, you're going places. Apple's also a good example. They're not too bad. They're right in the middle of the pack there with a score of 47. And a lot of times they will use that to adjust product design. Um, they take a look at that to see how their actual customer support is going. Because a lot of times, bear in mind with Apple, a lot of their customer support is still here in the US. So they have a lot more control over that than a lot of other businesses do. And then finally, Pizza Hut, just because I like pizza, so I decided to throw them in here. Um, a lot of times they actually have a net promoter score of 78, which
Wow.
is also in the world class category. And they use that to determine what is their next product going to be, what products are they bringing back. A lot of times, the Pizza Hut stores, the restaurants that you used to be able to sit down in, this
Hmm.
is in the 90s, this was in the 80s, and I'm probably dating myself right now. Um, those are starting to come back. I'm talking from Colorado Springs, and we actually have a Pizza Hut store that is coming back. It's the classic restaurant. They got the
Nice.
jukebox in there. They got the classic vinyls, booths.
Salad
It's
bar.
just like it used to be. So
Yeah, that's the one on there that surprises me is Pizza Hut. I guess I wouldn't have thought of it. I knew Apple was kind of a one of the standards for NPS. Are you going to talk about process at any point? Kind of, you mentioned a little bit earlier. If you're a small business and you have 5 to 10 employees, maybe how do you how do you implement and think about NPS?
Absolutely. So with that one, it does involve a fair bit of setup.
Yeah.
You do have to be able to actually have a platform that you can ask these questions on. And there's a bunch out there. There's SurveyMonkey, there's Qualtrics, there is
Hmm.
uh, CSAT, and there's a lot of different ways that you can phrase that question. But then you have to be specific enough with that question to be able to interpret that information. And I will put a shameless plug in there. That
Please
is what
do.
I
Yeah.
do.
Yeah. Plug away
Um,
because I know it does. This isn't, right or wrong. I'm going to make a statement and you can correct me if I'm wrong. It seems to me like you, you know, is this part of a broader survey program, or do you like to do this, that net promoter question all alone, so you make sure and does that make you more likely to get the answer to it?
Absolutely. So that is the biggest thing as far as that goes, is that depends a lot on what the client wants. If you do want something that's more comprehensive, that gives you a lot more information, that is very easy to set up as well. And a lot of times, one thing that I'll personally do, I have a program called Your Rave Report. And it's something that I developed for my clients, and it's a detailed estimate of your net promoter score based on your Google reviews.
Okay.
There's some keywords in Google reviews that I look for to see, is this person actually promoting you? Are they simply happy with the product? Or did they actually have an issue that they felt the need to leave you 1 star for?
Hmm.
And that can get you a pretty accurate view of your net promoter score, generally within 5 to 10 points of the actual number. So that gives you a good starting point. And then from there, I step in and I build up a report that'll give you detailed things that, as a business owner, you can do on your own. Or if there's something that I offer that can be of service to you, I put that in that report too as a recommendation.
Hmm.
But I never want to force people into working with me. That's
Well, they
that's not
should.
good business.
They should want to, because to your point, this is a wildly important topic,
Exactly.
and helps you guide your business forward.
Exactly. And one of the things that I do is I offer programs ranging from individual employee coaching, whether that's with a manager or with your front end staff, all the way up to big group trainings where we bring everybody together, get them all on the same page, and then we go from there. Um, and so, that's one of the biggest things that I try to help out businesses with is, just finding out where you are, getting you that snapshot, and then we do set up an action plan to go from there. Whether that's just training a couple employees so that they can come back up to snuff, or we can actually accredit your business for customer service. We have a program called the World Class Customer Experience. And if your business meets those, it actually gets you onto a pretty decent sized list
Yeah.
that, it's just businesses around Colorado that they do provide, basically what amounts to a net promoter score of 80 or up.
Mm.